Has anyone ever told you that the world of R&B isn't just about smooth vocals and heartfelt lyrics, but also fiery rivalries that shook the industry? Behind the chart-topping hits and sold-out shows, there have been battles of egos, creative clashes, and personal grudges that made headlines. From Usher's tense fallout with Chris Brown to Brandy and Monica's unforgettable drama, these feuds will blow your mind. Here are the 20 biggest feuds in R&B history. Chris Brown versus Drake. Chris Brown and Drake, two of music's biggest names, went head-to-head in a feud centered around none other than Rihanna. They started out as friends around 2010, spotted together at nightclubs, performing on stage, and even recording music together. But by 2012, things went south when rumors about Rihanna and Drake began circulating. The drama intensified after Rihanna and Drake released the Take Care music video, while Chris dropped a song around the same time, fueling speculation and tension. The feud escalated on June 14, 2012, at the New York City nightclub WIP, where a physical brawl broke out between their entourages. Bottles were thrown, several people were injured, and Chris Brown himself suffered a cut on his chin. Following the nightclub incident, both artists exchanged shots at each other through music and social media for years. Chris Brown, known for his high-energy performances and confident swagger, didn't shy away from subtle disses in songs and interviews. Drake, the smooth-talking rapper-singer hybrid, often let his music do the talking, countering with calm but pointed lyrical responses. The media had a field day analyzing every possible subliminal shot, turning the feud into a public spectacle. What made the Chris Brown versus Drake saga so captivating wasn't just the personal angle, it was the musical crossfire. Tracks dropped with lines fans immediately jumped on to create a dynamic that felt like a tennis match where every lyric was a serve and every Instagram story a volley. The tension and drama kept fans obsessed, turning the rivalry into one of the most talked-about conflicts in modern R&B. The feud officially concluded in 2019 with the release of their collaborative hit, No Guidance. This marked the first official project between the two artists, signaling a public reconciliation after years of back and forth. But during the height of the tension, it was pure chaos. Two heavyweight performers clashing over personal and musical stakes, with Rihanna caught in the middle and fans watching every move. Drama, music, and social media madness made the Chris Brown versus Drake feud a defining chapter in modern R&B rivalry history. Michael Jackson versus Janet Jackson. Moving on to the family drama that had fans glued to every headline. Michael Jackson, the undisputed king of pop, and his younger sister Janet, a rising star with attitude and unstoppable talent, had a rivalry that was less about shade and more about pushing each other to the limit. The world watched as Janet tried to find her voice in the shadow of a global icon. The dynamic shifted after Michael's Thriller album in 1982. Janet felt he became less playful, and they began to drift apart. Their collaboration on Scream highlighted the strain. Michael filmed at night, Janet by day, and their crews often blocked each other's access. The competition and logistical challenges led to feelings of hurt and rivalry, with the media amplifying every minor tension. Janet also mentioned in her 2022 documentary that Michael's childhood name-calling and teasing about her weight left lasting emotional wounds and affected her body image. While Michael had conquered the world with Thriller, Bad, and his signature moonwalk, creating a legacy that seemed untouchable. Janet, ambitious and fiercely independent, released hits like Control and Rhythm Nation, prompting constant media comparisons. Could she reach Michael's level? Every album, award, and tour was scrutinized, with fans weighing in like judges in a talent show. Despite the frustration and professional pressures, Janet remained protective of her brother, supporting him publicly, including appearing at court during the child molestation allegations against him. Despite their evident career rivalry, Janet admitted that she was inspired by Michael, but still determined to carve her own path, while Michael's perfectionist energy and boundary-pushing artistry set an impossibly high bar. Brandy versus Monica. Everyone knows the 90s were magical for R&B, but do most people even know that it was so magical that two of its brightest stars, Brandy and Monica, collided in what became one of the most iconic feuds in R&B history? "The Boy Is Mine" wasn't just a song, it was a declaration of war, and the world watched every subtle side-eye and tense interview. Initially, the tension reportedly stemmed from competition over chart dominance and overlapping fan bases. Brandy, with her sweet, sultry tones, and Monica, with her powerhouse vocals, were pitted against each other by media hungry for drama. Even their record label saw dollar signs, subtly feeding into the rivalry by staging friendly promotions that kept the feud in headlines. Interviews were a minefield. Both stars were polite yet cautious, answering questions about each other like diplomats negotiating a tense truce. Fans and tabloids interpreted every pause and smile as a calculated jab. "Is she shading me? Is she shading me?" became the unspoken anthem of R&B gossip. Despite the theatrics, the feud wasn't purely personal. It was also competitive fire. Both artists delivered career-defining performances during this period, turning rivalry into art. And the irony? They eventually reconciled and even performed together, proving that sometimes the best collaborations are born from a little tension. With a mix of humor and awe, fans remember Brandy versus Monica, not just for drama, but for the musical brilliance it sparked. Every lyric, every note, every interview was fuel for a generation obsessed with diva dynamics. Mariah Carey versus Whitney Houston. Two voices, two legends, one legendary feud. Mariah Carey versus Whitney Houston wasn't just a rivalry, it was diva destiny colliding. Rumors swirled in the 90s of tension over awards, record sales, and who truly reigned supreme as the ultimate female powerhouse. Publicly, they were cordial, often exchanging polite smiles and professional gestures, but insiders whispered about subtle digs in interviews and behind-the-scenes eye rolls. Carey's playful, bubbly confidence and Houston's polished, commanding presence created a perfect storm of speculation. Fans and media eagerly dissected every gesture, every quote, every glittering gown at award shows for hidden meaning. Yet here's the twist. Despite the tension, mutual respect always hung in the balance. Both women were acutely aware of each other's talent, and eventually, interviews showed traces of admiration, even hints of collaboration possibilities. While fans fueled the battle of the divas narrative, the reality was less catfight, more friendly competition on a legendary scale. The feud shaped pop culture's fascination with diva dynamics. Whitney's powerhouse belts and Mariah's signature whistle notes weren't just artistic statements, they were subtle flags of supremacy. And while the media hyped every incident, the underlying truth was clear. Rivalry can coexist with respect when talent and legacy are involved. Don't go anywhere yet, because the journey to jaw-dropping feuds has only just begun. And if you move, you'll be missing out on the next bombshell that I'm about to drop. Usher versus Chris Brown. The saga of Usher versus Chris Brown is like a decades-long R&B tug-of-war, and fans have been on the edge of their seats sipping every bit of the tension between these two superstars that didn't start overnight. Their feud contains a mix of comparisons, personal drama, and the relentless media frenzy following every bit of the action. Usher, the suave, smooth operator of R&B, already had decades of hits, choreographed to perfection, and a loyal fan base. Then came Chris Brown, the high-energy, daringly talented young star, whose swagger and dance moves drew inevitable comparisons. Rumors of backstage tension, subtle lyrical digs, and heated social media moments kept fans dissecting every interaction. Some say it started with dance battles, others point to awards season rivalries. Interviews hinted at mutual respect tinged with subtle shade, and whenever Chris or Usher performed, fans scrutinized every move for a possible message. Despite the drama, the feud fueled creativity. Both artists kept delivering chart-topping hits and unforgettable performances, pushing each other to innovate. Usher versus Chris Brown is classic R&B competitiveness, spiced with personality clashes, public speculation, and the occasional eyebrow-raising comment. Fans may debate who won, but one thing's clear: the music and the tension kept everyone entertained for years. Mariah Carey versus Jennifer Lopez. The infamous "I don't know her" moment that shook R&B and pop culture. Mariah Carey versus Jennifer Lopez was a feud fueled by diva energy, fame, and, of course, the media's relentless fascination with celebrity drama. It all started at a red carpet event when Mariah casually dismissed J.Lo with that icy comment. The world went wild. Fans debated intentions, dissected smiles, and even rewatched footage for hidden meanings. Both women were powerhouses in their own right, Mariah with her whistle notes and diva charisma, and J.Lo with her unstoppable energy and crossover appeal. The feud wasn't about public fights or scandals. It was about status, reputation, and who owned the spotlight. Interviews hinted at tension, but also a weird undercurrent of mutual acknowledgement. Over time, the media exaggerated every event, turning subtle gestures into headline fodder. But beneath the drama, it was a reminder of the high stakes of stardom, where one comment can spark years of speculation, debates, and internet memes. Carey versus Lopez remains a textbook case of diva rivalry, elegant, tense, and absolutely riveting. K. Michelle versus Tamar Braxton. K. Michelle and Tamar Braxton clashed in ways that kept fans glued to screens. It all started with music, sharp words, and a healthy dose of attitude, but quickly escalated into a full-blown war of personalities. Twitter became the battleground, interviews became fuel, and every public appearance carried the weight of possible shade. K. Michelle, bold, outspoken, and never one to hold back, traded lyrical jabs and social media comments with Tamar, whose diva confidence and powerhouse vocals matched her temper perfectly. Fans dissected every tweet, every subtle Instagram post, and every award show interaction, debating who had the upper hand. Despite the chaos, both women turned tension into unforgettable entertainment. Their feud helped the world to see how personality clashes, social media antics, and sharp tongues can create one of the most talked-about rivalries in modern R&B. K. Michelle versus Tamar Braxton isn't just drama. It's a masterclass in how two strong-willed women can dominate headlines while still delivering hits. K. Michelle versus Keisha Cole. Now, this is where powerhouse vocals meet fiery tempers in a collision course of epic proportions. K. Michelle and Keisha Cole, two voices that can stop you mid-breath, didn't just clash musically, they clashed personally. Interviews hinted at tension over comparisons, perceived shade, and competition for the title of R&B's queen of heart-wrenching, soulful storytelling. Fans loved the drama. Every social media post, cryptic lyric, or subtle remark became headline fodder. Both women were unapologetic, bold, and fiercely independent, making each interaction a high-stakes performance in itself. It was like watching two hurricanes of talent swirl in the same space, chaotic, intense, and unforgettable. But here's the truth. While their feud was heated, it showcased the power of two strong women in a male-dominated industry. The world got to see passion, talent, and ambition collide in real time. Hold on to your seats, because this next feud is explosive, dramatic, and fueled by social media fire. Beyoncé versus Carrie Hilson. Beyoncé versus Carrie Hilson is one of those R&B stories that had fans whispering in every corner of the internet for years. The feud's spark came in 2009 when Hilson released a remix of "Turnin' Me On" with a verse many interpreted as a subtle diss toward Beyoncé. Fans dissected every line like detectives looking for clues, and tabloids ran with the narrative immediately. The tension got spicier when Hilson reportedly refused to pose with a magazine cover featuring Beyoncé and Jay-Z. Social media blew up. Was it a power move? A personal slight? Everyone had an opinion. Hilson later clarified the situation in interviews, admitting that she was forced to sing them and regretted it, but the damage was done. Fans debated for years whether the shade was intentional or just a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Meanwhile, Beyoncé stayed largely silent, letting her music speak for her, which only fueled speculation. Every award show, every collaborative announcement, every cryptic Instagram post became a potential battleground. What made this feud fascinating wasn't a full-blown public meltdown. It was the tension simmering under the surface. Carrie Hilson's bold, playful energy clashed with Beyoncé's polished, controlled presence, creating a subtle war of personalities that the media and fans devoured. Over time, Hilson expressed admiration for Beyoncé and a desire to mend fences, proving that not every feud has to end in flames. In the end, their feud left fans entertained and gave analysts a chance to dissect every word of their lyrics to uncover potential disses at each other. Toni Braxton versus Tamar Braxton. Toni and Tamar Braxton, two sisters in the R&B spotlight, turned sibling rivalry into a public spectacle that fans couldn't look away from. Over the years, the tension between them has been fueled by a combination of personal disagreements and professional competition. Social media became a battlefield, with Tamar blocking Toni on Instagram and posting cryptic comments hinting at underlying resentment. Toni responded with measured frustration in interviews, creating a dramatic back and forth that played out like a reality TV saga. The feud intensified when Tamar accused Toni of gaslighting her, a revelation that dominated headlines and sent fans into a frenzy. Despite the chaos, there have been moments of reconciliation, showing that their bond as sisters still exists beneath the drama. Their feud is as much about love and family dynamics as it is about competition, giving fans a complicated human story they can't stop watching. Toni and Tamar Braxton showed the world that sibling rivalries don't always just play out behind closed doors, but they can dominate the public imagination and create some of the most compelling drama in R&B history. Aaliyah versus Beyoncé, fan-driven. Here's a feud that technically didn't exist, but you'd never know it from the intensity of online arguments. After Aaliyah's tragic death in 2001, some fans began comparing her to Beyoncé, pitting the late star against the rising Destiny's Child frontwoman. Every vocal run, stage move, and award became ammunition for debates. The internet, fueled by memes and forums, effectively created a rivalry between two artists who never actually feuded. Conspiracy theories even circulated, suggesting Beyoncé was involved in Aaliyah's death, claims that are entirely unfounded. Despite the chaos, insiders confirmed that the tension existed solely in the minds of fans. Still, the fan-driven feud was fascinating to watch. Every Beyoncé performance or Aaliyah tribute sparked comments about who was better, showing how fan culture can twist reality and manufacture drama without the star's direct involvement. Keyshia Cole versus Ashanti. Keyshia. Cole and Ashanti, two of the 2000s R&B queens with powerhouse voices and undeniable star power, found themselves in a feud that had fans and media hooked for years. Unlike some celebrity rivalries built purely on rumors, This one had tangible moments, dramatic performances, and plenty of social media attention to keep the tea hot. The rivalry really flared in the early 2000s when media outlets and fans began constantly comparing their careers. Both women were young, talented, and climbing the R&B charts, and naturally, the comparisons created a sense of competition. Ashanti, already an established hitmaker with chart toppers like Foolish, had a smooth, confident style. Keshia, raw, emotional, and unfiltered, brought heart-wrenching authenticity to every song. Fans pitted them against each other with every given opportunity they get. The feud reached its peak in 2020 during the highly anticipated Feuds battle. Ashanti's late arrival sparked a social media storm. Fans and commentators debated whether it was disrespectful or just an accident, and memes flooded the internet. Keshia expressed visible frustration, while Ashanti later clarified the reason for her delay, apologized, and explained the circumstances. Beyond the drama, interviews revealed mutual respect between the two singers. Ashanti expressed openness to collaborations, and even another Feuds-style encounter, highlighting that the feud, while intense in the public eye, was never rooted in true personal animosity. Instead, it reflected the pressures of being strong, independent women in a competitive music industry where public perception is often louder than reality. You want to see more feuds, some of which might even involve emergency hospital visits and a broken jaw? You definitely want to hold on to your seat right now. Rihanna versus Chris Brown. The Rihanna versus Chris Brown feud is one of the most infamous in music history, and it all blew up in February 2009, just before the Grammys. What started as a heated argument in a rented Lamborghini over alleged infidelity quickly spiraled into physical violence. Chris Brown was arrested and charged with felony assault, ultimately receiving 5 years of probation, community service, and mandatory domestic violence counseling. The incident not only became tabloid fodder, but also altered the trajectory of both of their careers. Rihanna's music following the attack, particularly on her album Rated R, reflected the emotional and physical trauma she endured, featuring themes of anger, resilience, and survival. Chris Brown, meanwhile, would later publicly address the incident in interviews and documentaries, recounting his own struggle with the fallout. Rihanna later revealed in an interview with Oprah Winfrey that the fight began after she accused Chris of lying about another woman, which escalated into the violent confrontation. In his 2017 documentary, Chris Brown, Welcome to My Life, Brown admitted that the fight started after Rihanna discovered texts from another woman and claimed that she attacked him first. He described the relationship as increasingly volatile after that, saying, "She didn't care, she just didn't trust me after that." From there, it just went downhill because it would be fights. It would be verbal fights, physical fights as well. We were fighting each other. She would hit me, I would hit her. But it never was okay. The incident left Rihanna visibly bruised, and the public fallout was immediate and intense. Yet in 2012, the two surprised fans by collaborating on the song Nobody's Business. Rihanna defended the collaboration as purely professional, emphasizing that the music had nothing to do with a romantic reconciliation. Despite criticism and speculation, she insisted that people were quick to assume things and misinterpret the situation. The Rihanna versus Chris Brown feud remains a headline-grabbing chapter in music history due to its mix of celebrity drama, public outrage, and undeniable talent caught up in one of the most talked-about incidents of the 2000s. Every interview, documentary, and song following the assault kept fans and the media analyzing the dynamics of their turbulent relationship, cementing it as one of the most sensational and unforgettable R&B conflicts ever. Boyz II Men versus New Edition. Boyz II Men and New Edition were two powerhouse R&B groups whose paths inevitably crossed, creating a generational rivalry. New Edition, dominant in the 1980s, paved the way for boy bands with hits like Candy Girl and Can You Stand the Rain. Boys II Men, emerging in the 1990s, brought a more soulful, polished sound, quickly topping charts with ballads like End of the Road. Rumors of tension grew as fans and media started comparing their musical influence. Interviews occasionally hinted at subtle shade, with members of both groups pointing to differences in musical longevity and success. During award shows, performances, and collaborative events, body language and subtle remarks were dissected by fans. Each group's rise created a competitive edge in the R&B landscape, making their paths feel less like friendly rivalry and more like a contest for generational supremacy. The feud wasn't violent, but was highly visible in music discussions, fan debates, and industry gossip. Tracks were analyzed for subliminal messages, and award shows were treated as battlegrounds where each group's dominance was silently tested. Fans pitted them against each other relentlessly, debating vocals, choreography, and the best era of boy band R&B, Jagged Edge versus 112. Jagged Edge and 112, two dominant 90s R&B groups, were often compared in terms of vocal chemistry, chart success, and stage presence. Both groups released hits almost simultaneously, sparking competitive energy in fans and media. Rumors of tension surfaced during award shows and interviews, with both groups subtly asserting their status as the premier male R&B ensemble. The feud escalated in fan circles when award wins and chart rankings were used as evidence of superiority. Jagged Edge and 112 each had signature sounds. Jagged Edge with heartfelt ballads, 112 with a smoother, hip-hop-infused style, which fueled debates over authenticity and artistry. Members occasionally made pointed remarks in interviews, further stoking speculation. Fans created endless online debates, memes, and countdowns comparing hits, which amplified the perceived tension between the two groups. While there were no public altercations, the competition was intense, and the battle for R&B dominance defined much of late 90s and early 2000s male group dynamics. Ray J versus Fabulous. The Ray J versus Fabulous feud exploded in 2011, and it was as messy as it gets. It all started when Fabulous mocked Ray J for playing One Wish on the piano for Floyd Mayweather in an HBO documentary. What began as online jokes quickly escalated into a full-blown confrontation at a party, where Ray J allegedly punched Fabulous, setting the stage for a chaotic public beef. The tension reached a boiling point at the Palms Las Vegas casino, where the two finally came face to face. Things got physical almost instantly. Reports say Ray J struck Fabulous and was immediately handcuffed by Las Vegas police, while Fabulous was escorted off the premises. The scene was tense, chaotic, and instantly became tabloid fodder. The day after the incident, Ray J called into Power 105's The Breakfast Club to give his side. In a notorious alcohol-fueled rant, he exclaimed, "It's like, don't disrespect me and Floyd like that. So when I saw him, I was with Floyd and 50 Cent. And Fabulous tried to say, don't touch me, and I touched that nugga. I got detained. I got kicked out of the motherfucking Palms Hotel." His raw, unfiltered words sent shockwaves through fans and the media. Ray J didn't hold back, threatening Fabulous and his entourage, whom he called a bunch of punk fugs. He made it clear that disrespecting him or his team would have consequences, boasting, "When you want to disrespect me and the money team, and we got 7 Rolls Royces outside, and we just made 350 racks on the fight. Don't disrespect me. I'ma smack you up again, fool." He even alleged that Fabulous suffered serious facial injuries during the altercation, demanding, "All I'm saying is if you got Fab's number, tell that Nyshay to send a picture of his face right now." The Ray J versus Fabulous feud wasn't just about a fight. It was a public spectacle of ego, aggression, and heated words that fueled conversations across radio, social media, and news outlets. I don't know about you, but the list so far have been nothing short of epic. From best friends turn rivals to leaving everlasting marks on each other, just what won't we see in Hollywood? Don't go anywhere yet. Stay with me. Ciara versus Rihanna. The Ciara versus Rihanna feud ignited in 2013 after a tense TV interview and Twitter exchange that set fans ablaze. The initial spark reportedly began during a backstage encounter where both artists were promoting major projects. While neither directly insulted the other publicly at first, social media quickly turned whispers into wildfire. Subtle remarks in interviews and cryptic tweets fueled speculation, with fans dissecting every glance, smile, and comment for hidden shade. Rihanna, already established as a global powerhouse, was known for her confident, sometimes blunt personality, while Ciara was carving her own lane with hits and intricate choreography. During a televised interview, Rihanna made a comment about staying relevant, which fans interpreted as a subtle jab at Ciara. Ciara, quick on the social media trigger, responded with an equally cryptic tweet, escalating the tension. The feud didn't involve physical altercations, but the rivalry was fiercely competitive. Fans pitted them against each other in music sales, awards, and live performances. Every collaboration or award show appearance was analyzed for signs of tension. Industry insiders reported that the two clashed over overlapping tour schedules and promotional events, with entourages contributing to the drama. Despite the intensity, the feud was largely fueled by perception, media spin, and fan rivalry. Every subtle comment became a headline, and every Instagram post or stage gesture was scrutinized. While the feud simmered for years, it never escalated into physical conflict, leaving fans to debate who truly won the clash. In the end, the Ciara versus Rihanna saga remains a classic example of celebrity tension magnified by media and social media speculation, a rivalry that sparked conversation, division, and endless fan analysis. Genuine versus Tyrese versus Tank, TGT breakup. The TGT trio, Genuine, Tyrese, and Tank, was marketed as R&B's ultimate supergroup, a dream team combining powerhouse vocals, star power, and decades of experience. Fans were ecstatic when the group formed, expecting a seamless blend of talent and unforgettable music. But behind the scenes, egos, creative differences, and business disputes quickly fueled one of the most dramatic R&B feuds in recent memory. The tension centered on leadership, revenue sharing, and the question of who would headline shows. Tyrese, known for his outspoken personality and ambitious nature, reportedly pushed for a larger share of creative control, believing his experience and star power warranted it. Genuine and Tank had their own visions for the group's direction, often clashing with Tyrese's ideas. These disagreements over artistic input, set lists, and song choices gradually escalated into deeper conflicts. Studio sessions, which should have been collaborative, became heated battlegrounds. Sources say verbal confrontations were common, with tempers flaring over lyrics and arrangements and recording schedules. Tyrese took to interviews to vent frustrations, hinting at a lack of support or alignment from his bandmates, while Genuine and Tank defended themselves, emphasizing fairness and teamwork. Each public statement amplified the tension, feeding media speculation and fueling fan debates about who was right or wrong. Social media further intensified the feud. Fans took sides passionately, diligently observing every interviews, snippets of performances, and cryptic tweets from each artist. Every subtle remark became a headline, magnifying the drama and creating a toxic environment. Scheduling conflicts, contractual disputes, and disagreements over promotion added layers of strain, making collaboration increasingly difficult. Although no physical altercations were reported, the emotional intensity was obvious. The breakup of TGT exposed a hard truth in the music industry that even the most promising collaborations can be scattered when egos clash and business pressures mount. Fans were left disappointed, and media outlets eagerly covered every development, analyzing every quote, tweet, and performance for signs of further discord. In the end, what began as an exciting project showcasing three of R&B's most talented artists became a living proof of ambition, pride, and the challenges of balancing personal success with group harmony. The Genuine vs. Tyrese vs. Tank saga remains one of the most talked about supergroup breakups in R&B, illustrating that behind the glitz, talent alone isn't always enough to hold a group together. Chris Brown vs. Frank Ocean. The Chris Brown vs. Frank Ocean feud erupted in 2013 following a parking lot confrontation that immediately made major headlines. The drama began at a music event where the two artists unexpectedly crossed paths. Sources reported that old tensions and personal grievances, some rumored to have been simmering for months, quickly boiled over. Witnesses say words were exchanged, voices were raised, and before anyone could step in, the situation escalated into a brief but heated scuffle that left onlookers stunned. While the physical confrontation was short-lived, the aftermath ignited weeks of speculation and media frenzy. Chris Brown, notorious for his bravado and impulsive reactions, spoke about the incident indirectly in interviews, dropping hints and subtle references that kept fans guessing. Frank Ocean, in contrast, maintained his enigmatic cool, largely staying silent publicly. However, the singer allowed subtle lyrical disses to surface in his music, fueling rumors of subliminal shots aimed at Brown. Every line, every tone in interviews, and every social media post was scrutinized, creating a charged narrative that combined personal tension with professional rivalry. Fans on social media quickly jumped into the drama, dissecting every detail of the encounter. Memes, reaction videos, and discussion threads erupted online as followers speculated about the cause of the feud, the severity of the altercation, and whether it would escalate further. Music blogs and entertainment outlets amplified every nuance, framing it as a classic clash of contrasting personalities. Chris Brown's reputation for volatility and unpredictability collided with Frank Ocean's mysterious, reserved demeanor, creating a dynamic that captivated the public and left everyone on edge. The feud also had a ripple effect in the R&B and hip-hop communities. Fellow artists, collaborators, and industry insiders weighed in subtly, sometimes fueling the fire with comments about respect, ego, or creative differences. Rumors circulated that both camps were wary of crossing paths in future events, and speculation about potential rematches or confrontations added another layer of intrigue. Though no further physical confrontations occurred, the feud remained a talking point for months, influencing fan debates, music commentary, and pop culture conversations. It showcased how personal tensions between major artists could spill over into public discourse, magnifying every gesture, lyric, and remark. For fans, the Chris Brown vs. Frank Ocean saga was more than just a parking lot scuffle. It was a clash of personalities, talent, and egos that left a lasting mark on the entertainment world and cemented itself as one of the most talked about celebrity feuds of 2013. Mary J. Blige vs. KCI. Mary J. Blige and KCI's relationship turned toxic in the late 1990s, spilling into the public eye and fueling a feud fueled by personal turmoil. The couple, deeply in love at first, experienced intense emotional highs and lows, with conflicts becoming public knowledge. Rumors of breakups, reconciliations, and arguments dominated media coverage. The turmoil affected both their personal lives and professional interactions. Tours, collaborations, and award show appearances became tense, with fans and media constantly analyzing interactions for signs of conflict. Interviews hinted at lingering resentment and frustration, painting a picture of a passionate but unstable connection. Their feud wasn't about professional rivalry, but rather personal clashes that became a public spectacle. Mary's outspoken nature and KCI's temper created combustible situations that drew fan and media attention, making the Bledge-KC saga one of the most talked about personal feuds in R&B history. To uncover more intriguing stories among Hollywood celebrities, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.